me. I feel so honored to be here, and I've just been so inspired by everything I've seen today. The dance performance was powerful. I was just like, whoa. And all of the stories that you shared, all the students that got up here and shared, it just really touched my heart. And I'm really excited to share my story because I feel like it parallels everything that you've been saying today. That every story, every person that shared up here today had a story of overcoming challenges or struggles or life circumstances. And as you know, I've had some life circumstances that I've had to overcome. But I've also been so blessed to have a support system around me. I was really encouraged to see that you are all people of faith, because I am too, and I'm glad I get to share openly about that today. So I'm going to share a little bit of my story with the hopes that it'll inspire you. I remember sitting in your spot a while back. You guys, you've been through so much to get to this day of graduation. You have so much to be proud of, and you have so much to look forward to. You have your whole life ahead of you. And I think sometimes it's easy to say, well, I graduated, so I'm done now. But actually, this is just the first step for the rest of your life, towards the rest of your life, towards the journey that is your life. And I can just say that, when I was growing up, I grew up in a small town in Chehalis, and when I was growing up, the laws for students with disabilities to be in the schools had just been recently passed. So there wasn't a ton of support for students with disabilities in the schools, and my parents had to fight a lot to get me a good education. The schools wanted to put me in separate classrooms and in a separate school where I wouldn't have gotten a high quality education. But just because I don't have limbs doesn't mean I don't have a good brain. And so my parents wanted me to get the best education I could. So they hired lawyers and really pulled for me to be in the classrooms with my peers. So with that though, I did experience being bullied and teased. And by the time I got to my senior year where you guys are at, my self-esteem was pretty low. But I went on to Pacific Lutheran University here in Tacoma, and I had a whole different experience there. I had been raised in the church, and all through that time that I was being teased and felt like, do I have a future, or I feel like I'm nobody, there was a dream inside of me. I didn't even know it, but it was there. It was a seed of a dream. It was a desire to be someone. It was a desire to be someone that would impact people's lives with my story. I also have a passion for the arts, so I've always loved singing, and singing in choirs and being in music productions and things like that. That passion kept me going through the hard times. When I got to Pacific Lutheran University, it was scary. I left home, and I didn't have a caregiver or anything like that. So I had to basically just ask for help for things I needed. And I had some amazing student friends that I made there at PLU, and I also became part of the faith community on campus. And so I was surrounded with positivity. I was surrounded by people who had faith in God and who had faith in me. And they started to speak truth to me, which I know you guys have all experienced here in this room from the program. It's called Tatua. Am I saying it right? Anyway, that program, you guys have heard people speak truth to you, even when you're struggling, even when you feel like, well, I'm nobody, and look at the family situation I'm in, or my financial situation, or I've done bad things, or all those things. When you hear the truth, something comes alive inside of you. And so I began to hear truth. I began to have mentors come around me like many of you have in this room. And they believed in me, and they saw that seed of the dream inside of me, and they said, you can do it. This dream is going to come true. And so with all that positive encouragement, I went on, I got a degree in psychology at PLU, and then I went on and got a degree in radio broadcasting at Clover Park Tech, and that was a really great experience because I got to go to Seattle every day and intern at 710 Cairo, which is now not it's something else. But it was such a great experience. And then I went on and got a master's degree in counseling. And shortly after that, I started my motivational speaking business. And I started speaking in schools and sharing my story. And whether I get to share my faith outright in God, or whether I get to share the wisdom that I've learned from reading the Bible and from praying and just from having a connection with God, I do get to share those truths with people, and I know that it impacts their life. And so I'm living my dream out now. And getting crowned Miss Wheelchair Washington in March was kind of the cherry on top. It's opened so many doors. Being part of this pageant and having this platform has opened so many doors for me to speak in schools and businesses and churches, and anywhere, and places like this, graduations, where I can share my story. So getting to here to this day didn't come without its bumps and bruises, though. And that's what I want to share with you, is that sharing it in that fluid way that I just did makes it sound like it was easy, but it really wasn't. I mean, on a daily basis, I face the limitations of my own disability. On a daily basis, I've faced financial difficulties, relationship tension. There were times that all I could afford was to live in bachelorette pads, so I had a lot of drama around me and a lot of tension and sometimes a lot of negativity that I faced. But I always had my church community and those friends that I had there that would provide that friendship, that encouragement, that strengthening. They would pray for me, and that is what got me through, and that is how I got to where I am today. And so I want to share an analogy with you that achieving your dreams is a lot like surfing. Has anybody in here ever surfed? Raise your hand if you've surfed. Really? I thought with being like, you know, Asia Pacific that you guys would like
the Japanese guy and the white lady.
You know, or is that how you say it? How do you say wave in Hawaiian? Is it's kakuda, right? Or am I saying that wrong? Anyway, the big waves. So I hope I didn't say something wrong. But anyway, so it's a lot like surfing. So a surfer has to, you know, scan the horizons for the best wave. So when you dream up your dreams in life, the things that you want to do, the things that you're good at, that make you feel alive, pursue them with all your heart. And so it's like a surfer. You decide, okay, this is what I want to do. So you pick out your wave that you want to ride. And then the surfer has to dive deep under the water. And that time, diving deep signifies in life that you have to dive deep into yourself and find out who you are. I can say that I've gotten to my dreams by being a student of myself and letting God show me who I am. And people around you can help you with that, your friends and your mentors. And also diving deep signifies the times that you feel invisible. Like you're deep under the water and it feels like no one sees you, no one recognizes you, but above the surface there's this wave that's forming, and that wave forms through the encouragement and the positive support that you get from the people around you here at the Asian Pacific Cultural Center, the people that are mentoring you, and the friendships that you'll make along the way in life. That's the wave that's being built. And then the surfer has to find the slipstream under the wave, which basically sucks them up into the wave. And when you find that slipstream, it's like this wave of inspiration that comes into your life, and it rises you above all your circumstances, above all your struggles, above all your fears, and then the surfer gets pulled up into that wave. And then you have to find balance. To ride that wave, you have to have balance. You can't be falling over or you've lost the momentum. So that balance comes by living a good life. It comes by not getting into addictions, having positive friendships, and keeping your life on course, keeping your finances right, like making sure you pay your bills, and knowing what you have in the bank account, what your expenses are. I know that all seems like, just whatever, but it's really important. All those balances of life, keeping your spiritual balance too, staying connected to God and staying connected to your faith community. And then you ride that wave out, And there are many waves that you'll ride in life, and the goal is to get to that big wave, the ultimate wave. And I feel like I'm riding the big wave now, but there's a bigger wave I'm looking forward to. I actually want to be a network talk show host. So someday I hope to be on TV impacting people's lives with my story and having other people come on the show and impact their other people's lives with their story. And so that's the next big wave that I want to ride. But something too, for the biggest waves, you have to have the biggest storm. And it takes a really gutsy surfer to surf in the storm, but that's actually where you get the best waves and where it's the most exhilarating and the most awesome. But that storm signifies the struggles that you have in life. And so if there's a storm that's going on around you, be encouraged, because it just means that there's a big wave that's being built up for you to ride. And the biggest thing for you to get to that wave is to overcome fear, because fear will be your biggest nemesis. And I can tell you, I've been a kind of a nervous Nelly, a worrier all my life, and fear has been my biggest nemesis. And there's been times that I've seen that big wave and I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. But I can say that making the choice to go past the fear is where the victory is. And I can tell you that in every risk I've ever taken in life, there's never not been anxiety, there's never not been fear. But every time I've taken that leap and, ridden the big wave, it's always been so inspiring and awesome that each time the fear diminishes more and more. And I can definitely say that right now in my life, I'm the most peaceful that I've ever been, because I've overcome a series of fears throughout my life and gotten to a place where I can ride the big waves. So I hope that you get the chance to ride the big waves in life. You can if you choose it, if you choose the balance, and if you choose to face your fears. Don't be dismayed if you're in the midst of a storm, because it just means that really awesome things are about to happen. And all of you in this room really are the future leaders, the promised leaders of tomorrow. Thank you for having me here.